as someone else who's going to become quite wealthy, meaning you are going to become quite wealthy like I am, you have to learn about business structures, tax. I'm not a business consultant. I'm not a financial advisor, not a tax advisor. Nothing I say is advice at all. But I'll tell you this. I am going to share more and more business-related matters from professionals in the post page that I've been calling the community page. And allegedly, YouTube is going to grant me access to a community page for all of us. That being said, let's move on. Good morning, everyone. Yes, it's Thursday, the 31st of July, 2025. And it's a pretty bad day to drive. In any case, with the intro, the lead-in that you just saw, my focus on this quick one is a discussion on business entities. Now, everyone always says LLCs and lumps them all together into one thing. And fortunately, in my YouTube suggestions, I got a video suggestion from my watch list, Mark Kohler, and my brain just froze there. The gentleman he does a regular show with discussing business entities. Now, I'm going to watch that. And as you guys know, I've been watching about overseas LLCs. So why is this important in crypto world? Because, yeah, my focus has been on individual finance and other matters, because it's rapidly becoming apparent that everyone needs to have a business of some type or another. All of these acts and executive orders, they're all designed for entrepreneurship. And a lot of people want to just sit back and be rich. And sometimes that can be cool. It all depends what you do with it. It's like anything else. It's a tool. So let's approach this that we are not going to be working a daily grind, so to speak. We may do things with AI and other matters as a side business, but what we have to focus on is that we are entering a class where our day-to-day lives are going to be essentially monitoring and managing our investments. Now, to an extent, there is a level of autopilot to all this, and but you gotta, even with an autopilot, it has to be a pilot in the cabin making sure systems are running correctly. And we're not talking about the self-driving trucks, self-driving cars, and there is someone who monitors that from a distance. It's always been that way. I don't see it changing anytime soon, even with AI. An AI in its best intent would be a helper. It's the next advancement in technology, etc. But what we have to focus on is business entities as a type of tech, business tech, so to speak. And with that, this truck is trying to turn. There we go, good. With that in mind, there are multiple types of LLCs. There are multiple purposes for LLCs. Despite all the ads you see, etc., LLC is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to know the intent of the company. Remember, like we discussed in another video, company has the same root as companion. So what you're associated with, very watered down version of that whole concept. Now, there are some LLCs that are particularly good for holding assets. There are LLCs for managing assets, which you have to have walking in the door to a professional I'm not a business setup professional. But what you do know, rather, that what you got to have walking in is an idea of what you're talking about. So, let's quickly review a couple of those things. You have, and this is often misunderstood, domestic and foreign LLCs. Now, that doesn't mean, here in the United States rather, that does not mean on a federal level, domestic and overseas LLCs. Does not. LLCs are done by the individual states. Domestic means domestic to the state that you reside or that the business operations are in as well. There are a lot of different caveats and requirements that have to be met. And foreign, in this case, would refer to an LLC in another state. So you have to really get your head around that. A lot of people just spout off Wyoming, sometimes Nevada, even New Mexico and Delaware. Those are different types of things with different use cases where you have to protect your money, your assets. So you may have a domestic, as in your state, LLC, for your real estate holdings, individual LLCs. So we're talking a lot of management here, ladies and gentlemen, where you got to manage. Let's say we become so wealthy, we have 5 houses, hopefully not in our names. There's a slip and fall at one house somewhere. You need to have your assets secured in different setups. You have to be mindful of tax structures. This is why you want an attorney, an accountant, tax accountant, I should say, business attorney, tax accountant. If you catch one like Mark J. Kohler who does both, that's pretty awesome. But you got to also look and explore some other options. Now, sometimes you have multiple LLC structures. Sometimes those entities, those multiple LLC structures, will involve Wyoming or sometimes Nevada or somewhere else. Sometimes they won't. Also, you have S-Corps. S-Corps are corporations, totally different thing than a company, not for all intents and purposes, but in the sense of business structure. And quite a few other matters connected to that. I don't want to overdo that point, but definitely speak to a professional on that. Heck, if you have to, take a business class at your local community college. Yeah, you gotta get up. You gotta go somewhere. You gotta do things. Don't be lazy, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, there are plenty of online ones too. You just gotta make sure you find the right one. Now, some LLCs have a structure where for tax purposes, they are an S-Corp. Now, with that, you have to do other steps. The professionals will tell you about that because you have to meet certain IRS qualifications. Now, let's say you are someone who has tens of thousands of XRP and Q&T. Somehow you're able to do it. Good for you. You're now going to have to look at all that, and in addition, because you're more than likely, we're going to say you're US based, for just to make this relatively easy, you're going to have all that stuff that I just spoke about set up, but you have to bring in considerations for all of your assets. So that would require looking at overseas trusts, overseas LLCs. My opinion is that everyone should follow the business guy. I believe His actual name is Kevin Wussel. So, from what I could find. But he's just popularly known as the business guy. Okay. So, I have a lot of his stuff in the, what I'm calling currently the community page, the posts page. And definitely start looking at that. Because now you have to also be cognizant of having overseas banks. You have to understand the banking that's going on. What's that channel? He's in, I've shared his videos. I always share full credit. I just can't recall his name right now. With banking, gentleman did an excellent review of overseas banks, whether it's Liechtenstein or Switzerland or Singapore, Georgia. That's the country of Georgia, for those that don't know. Trying to think, I can't really recall any other ones that come to mind, but you're going to have to start considering overseas banks. Now, one thing I want to focus on, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have people who want to say that they can get rid of your taxes. I really don't recommend that, because everyone has taxes to pay. Sometimes you can get to zero, good for you. Sometimes you can get to 1%, or some other nominal number. That being said, be wary. If you can get someone who can knock your taxes down so low, because they have like 20 years experience in this, 30 years, whatever, then what you're going to want to do is, give that person a good following. Look at their YouTube channels, etc. Because they may be someone who can truly, honestly get it to zero or a nominal percentage. You also have to understand one thing. If you're living in the U.S., you got to pay taxes for all this. It's just the way it is. Any country you're in, it costs money to live in a society, so that society must pay its bills, and so there's got to be some level of taxation. Now, the way taxes are done nowadays, in my humble opinion, within the Western republics, I understand why people say taxation is theft, because it's overdone, it's not done right, and it's not done well. So all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, start looking at all of these business structures. Even if, let's say you don't have tens of thousands of one of the cryptos that we know it's going to pop. Let's say you have, let's say you have a relatively humble living standard. You should still explore these options, because they may be good to protect your money, your valuables, your assets, and just give you a nice, comfortable life. A lot of us on this channel, we've worked hard for what we have. So that being said, explore these things and see if they can be of help. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, definitely take a look at Doug Andrew and his crew at Three-Dimensional Wealth and Laser Financial. That is something worth exploring. Also, take a look at all these things. Have a good attorney who's on your side, a good accountant who's on your side, tax accountant, and a tax attorney would be amazing. going to have to build a team and work with this team as they work to serve you. So I'm going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. That was intended to be a quick review of LLCs and business entities and the like, because it really seems apparent that we all have to set up little businesses now. It just seems to be the way to go. I'm trying to park in this. Oh gosh, double space. I hate it when they do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just had a great idea. If you watch the video to the end, please type double parked. I get it, but they're being greedy. Share the wealth. We're trying to park in the shade over here because it's just been terrible. All right, everyone. If you like videos like this and honest conversation, please like this video. Please share it with your friends. If you're not subscribed, please do so. But also, please hit that bell. Ding, ding, ding. So this way you get notified when I post up videos. That's about it. So stick it to the man, not to each other. Stick to your plan, develop your plan, and then stick it to the man. All right, I'm out. Peace, everybody.